Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mel Hartley. I'm a financial blogger and host of the Fancy and Frugal podcast. On this channel, I also share my personal financial journey, including getting out of debt and my plan to build wealth, and I hope to pay it forward by helping others get out of debt and achieve financial freedom as well. So, subscribe to my channel if you appreciate this type of content and want to learn more, and also like the videos so I can continue making these kind of videos for you. So today, I was watching a video on YouTube that really caught my attention, not only because I can personally relate, but also because I've been hearing a lot lately about how this has affected people, mostly women, financially. I'm talking about MLMs and how they're a complete scam and how easy it is to fall victim to them. My personal experience with MLMs. So I joined one called Melaleuca, another one called World Ventures, and one called Organo Gold. I want to add that I really do like the products, but I wish I would have just stayed a customer and not tried to start a business. So it all started back in 2014 or 2015 when I moved to Minneapolis, and it was before things were going well with my first business, like real business that I started. I was so desperate for money. I have a degree in film studies, and there's just not a lot of paid film work in Minneapolis. So I was looking for part-time jobs or just anything to, be able to pay my bills. And I thought it would be a really good way for me to still be independent, so I could have my other business and get that going. And I thought I could make unlimited amounts of money, I wouldn't have any restrictions because of hours or anything like that. So, but I really should have listened to my gut. It was telling me not to do it. I literally, physically did not have enough money to start the business. I think it was between $300 and $500 depending on which level you wanted to do. And they were pretty upfront with Melaleuca. They were pretty upfront about the starting costs, so it wasn't I've heard some other companies, it's only, X amount of dollars to get started, and then surprise, you need to buy all this product, and then that's an additional amount on top of it. So it was pretty upfront. I think you're paying for, I don't remember, the starter kit or something. So it was you get a certain amount of products upfront. So they were pretty upfront about that. So that was good. But I was so broke at the time. I could barely even scrape that together. And this was in a time in my life when I was super, super stubborn. I just refused to get a real job. And I at the time, I thought that was my only plausible option. And I don't know if these three companies that I did intended to be a scam. I don't think that they held meetings and were just how do we scam people today? I don't think that was happening. But my point is that the overall concept of an MLM is not a good way to invest your money. They target the financially desperate, single moms who need a flexible schedule so they can stay at home with their kids, broke college students who just can't commit to full-time or even part-time work because they need to study. When I was in college, they actually discouraged us from working even just part-time because it was just so intense. We're basically doing a bachelor's degree worth of work in 18 months. Some people were doing the accelerated program, which was 13 months, I think. So it was just it was a lot of information, fire hose, so it was just hard a lot of people, if they were working to pay for school, they would have to drop out because it was just too hard to keep up with everything. Yeah. So they just make a lot of promises that are just oftentimes unrealistic. Like with Melaleuca, it's a really hard sell because it's a membership and you have to buy a certain amount, like it's points or something, but it's obviously like you have to pay for it. So I think the bare minimum kind of ended up being about like $70 a month worth of products. And the products were really great, but cleaning products and beauty products can last a really long time. So you don't need to replenish your supply every month unless you're like managing a business or something. But if you're just like a general consumer, you're not going to go through that much, like any of the products, like, and maybe some of the like supplement, like I think they had like protein powder or something like that, but maybe some stuff like that. But you know, it just wasn't realistic. And the World Ventures was also membership based, and like in situations where the economy is down or there's a global epidemic like the coronavirus, people aren't going to spend a bunch of money on traveling. So the only one that I thought I could truly make work was Organic Gold. And that's the one that's like, maybe I could have made it work, but I think it was just bad timing because I had a million other things going on at the time, and I just didn't want to take the risk of putting all of my eggs in that basket. Because, I mean, it's a sales job. Like, you are either cold calling people you know, like family and friends, and using that whole sphere, or you're, you know, messaging, sliding into people's DMs, like, hey, have you heard of this, like, product? Like, you know, those messages that you get from these, like, MLM people. That's what you're doing all day, like, all day. And I mean, it's a numbers in sale. It's a numbers game in sales. It's like statistics. Like, if you reach out to 100 people, you're bound to get X amount of bites. Like, you know what I mean? So, but it's such a tough thing because just the scripts that some of these people give you, and some of them are very strict about like how you, like, the scripts that you are supposed to use, like you have to say it verbatim, like exactly how they script it. And then if you're just winging it and kind of doing it your own way, and then you're, you know, a lot of times like they have these parties and you have to get people to come to the party. And I love parties. I love throwing parties. So I really thought, especially with World Ventures, like I had this whole marketing concept and I thought it would be great. But, you know, when you're trying to, it just sounds scammy. Like when you go to your friends and family, like that's who you start with, is your own personal sphere. And when you're like, hey, I'm doing this thing, and you like kind of explain, like people start to think like, oh, that sounds like one of those MLM things or like a pyramid scheme. And it's really hard to get people to go. I mean, it's hard to get people just to go to your, like my birthday party or like something that's like actually really meaningful to me, let alone an MLM like business type thing. So yeah, it's just really, really, really hard. And the people who make money, like it probably took them a really long time to get to that point, and think of how much money like they've already invested. So yeah, like you have to get a return on your investment. If you have to buy a certain amount of products, if you spent $3,000 on products, and then you finally start, and then you make like $2,000, you still haven't even made your money back, let alone made any type of profit. So even though you might have a few sales, like it's not necessarily like, you might not even break even. And the way these companies sell it is like a whole lifestyle and this amazing experience. It really sucks you in because who doesn't want to feel a part of a community and like having a work family? And they have like all these like really big events where it's like there's a lot of energy and like it's just so exciting. And the marketing for these MLMs is insanely manipulative, and clearly it works because they make it not only about money, they make it personal and they make it emotional. So my argument is that if you start a business, it's a risk. Or not my argument, their argument is if you start a business, it's a risk, no reward, basically. And don't get me wrong, like, I believe wholeheartedly in this when it's your business that's taking the risk. With MLMs, you're taking a huge financial risk on someone else's business. You're essentially gambling anywhere between a couple $100s and possibly several $1,000s on a business that's not even your business. If you put in the hours and the effort and still don't turn a profit, the person who's at the top, and there is a person who's at the top because that's just how the structure of MLMs works, the person at the top still has a bunch of other people underneath them to make money off of. But you're out of your rent money, your car payment money, grocery money for your family, and it's way more devastating to you to lose this money than the person at top. It's like not a big deal to them. Like, they don't care. And the structure of a pyramid scheme in MLM is the same. It's just that MLMs found a loophole so they don't get charged with fraud. And MLMs they're not only free labor, they don't have to pay employees a wage, only a commission if they produce. It's not only free labor, it's paid labor. You're paying for their overhead, which is not how an employee-employer relationship is supposed to work, which is why the whole MLM thing pisses me off. And I wish I would have trusted my gut in the first place to never do any of them. So, what are your thoughts? Have you guys done MLMs? Did you feel like it was a huge ripoff? Did you make any money? Like, maybe you are one of the few people who made it to the top and you have a success story. Like, I'm very curious because a lot of the people who I know who do it with, like underneath the smile and the rah, it's like, I'm losing money, like this isn't actually going as well as like I would have hoped. So I'm just curious, like, if anybody's actually had a success story from this. Yeah, so leave your thoughts in the comments, and again, if you enjoy this channel, please subscribe and follow me on Instagram for some behind the scenes adventures at Mal Hartley.